Good afternoon. My name is Catherine Karani, and I am the teacher who teaches culinary techniques at University. Now, this will be our second class because our first class we did a bit of introduction on personal hygiene, food hygiene, and kitchen hygiene. Now, this is the workshop that we usually come to actually do the practicals. Now, there are very basic things that we need to consider even as we come into the kitchen. Once you come into the kitchen, one, you have to have proper dress code. It is one of the requirements that you actually have to have when you come into the kitchen. Why? You may ask, yes, it is for the hygiene purposes and to make sure you do not do cross-contamination to the food and to your fellow classmates. Then, as soon as you enter the kitchen, now, with the coronavirus, we have learned how to wash our hands very many times. So the same would apply here in the kitchen. As soon as you enter the kitchen, you make sure that you wash your hands to remove any germs. Now, the very basic things that you need to consider is we will go through first the dress code and what is expected of you, and then I will show you the very basic equipment so that when I'm in class and I tell you, please give me a colander, you don't look at me as if I'm talking Greek. And you just bring a colander and you say, "Mwalimu hiyo ni nini?" So it is very important that you actually know the equipment so that by the time you are in the kitchen, you'll be very conversant on how to operate with the very many different equipments. Now, for the dress code, we usually advertise, we have our chef's hat. Chef's hat is important to prevent hair falling on food. And for ladies, we prefer that you have a very simple hairstyle. One that will enter your chef's hat so that you don't have hair falling out. So at the end of the day, all the hair has to come in. I usually tell students that if you have a lot of hair, it has to fit inside here. So make sure that whatever hairstyle that you have, it is convenient and can actually fit into your chef's hat. One, the chef's hat serves two purposes. It's preventing hair and sometimes even sweat, so that if you sweat in the kitchen, you find that it can actually hold the sweat from your hair. Then we have the chef's jacket. For us lecturers, we can have a black chef's jacket. For you students, you should actually have a white chef's jacket. Then we have the apron to prevent anything coming out. And usually chef's jacket for you students, they're usually long sleeved. Yeah? The purpose is, if you're cooking, for example, and it's something hot, be it a soup or a stock, whatever you're cooking, if it falls here, it will not burn you. Yeah? That is why they should be long sleeved. Yeah? And of course, they should be clean. The purpose of an apron is so that you don't dirtify your clothes. Now, for the kitchen also, you need to have low, flat shoes, leather. Now, why you should have leather shoes is if by mistake somebody comes with a knife or a knife is kept badly on the kitchen surface, if it falls, it does not injure you. I do not allow open shoes, yeah, because the same reason that a knife can drop or some soup or something may pour and that will injure you, meaning that will cause an accident, and that is very bad. Now, there are some basic things that I will want to show you today, and apart from having your chef's uniform here, you have a kitchen cloth for wiping the utensils, and you have a hand towel. Now, usually even at home, yeah, in your kitchen, you usually have a cloth for wiping the utensils and a cloth for hands. So same here. So I would not want anybody to come without either of the two, because one, after whatever you wash your hands, you wipe with this one. Then whenever you need to wipe cloths, you wipe with this one. So this is very important. So you should have those two very basic. We also, in the university, we require you also to come with knives. Now, there's usually a set of knives. Yeah? When you come here, we actually show you the photos of what exactly we expect. There are basically three of them. There's a small vegetable knife, there's a meat knife, and there's another butcher's knife. But for starters, because we start with a very basic, yeah, we actually need two knives, the vegetable knife and the meat knife. So those ones, as you come to the university, when you're registering, we'll be able to actually show you how they actually look like. Now, we have this here on the table is a chef's scarf. Now, the purpose of a chef's scarf is so that you prevent any sweat coming down here. So there's a way you actually fold it, and I'll show you basically how. This you have to learn. Yeah. So you usually bring it. It is usually triangle. So you usually bring it to the center and make sure it is flat. Then you fold it again, and then you fold it a last time. Okay. And chefs, are you dipping my voice?
No.
Then you actually take this one. We all went to secondary school, so if you can remember very well how you used to wear a tie on you, so you actually do like a tie. Then this actually goes round. Unlike the secondary tie, now this one usually doesn't have one that goes down. And you continue tying it round. And when it is almost done, you insert it inside. There. So that you have something like this. Now, the chef's scarf should actually be inside. Why? Not outside, so that it actually catches any sweat from your body. But once we come to class, we'll actually be able to show you, and you'll be able to do as we have planned. Now, in the kitchen, as I said earlier, we have quite a number of equipment. We will learn that the equipment are usually divided into three categories. We have this large equipment. Large equipment, we have cookers like this. We have freezers, work surfaces, sinks. All these are part of large equipment. And those ones, we can actually classify them into the different areas. Now, when we go after large equipment, we have small equipment. Small equipment is a whole array that we have here. Now, I will go through basically all of them so that you actually know what is used for this. Now, this is called a wire whisk. Now, the purpose of a wire whisk is actually to whisk, as the name suggests. You can use it for whisking of eggs, you can use it for whisking of soup, especially if you will come to learn about a roux where you're mixing some, when you're putting a thickening, and you actually stir with this. This prevents lumps from forming. Then we have our famous wooden spoon. In Kiswahili, mwiko. This usually we prefer using it for stirring. Even at home, you actually use it for stirring. The same one can be used for making ugali. The same one can also be used. I will show you if you come to cake decoration or cake cooking. You can also use this when you're mixing your cake mixture. So that is a wooden spoon. Then we all know what this one is. It is a rolling pin. Yeah. So you actually roll chapatis, you roll pastry with it, and actually it actually helps. Now, when you actually come to the kitchen, you not only know how to operate this equipment, but you also learn how to maintain them. Now, for the wooden ones, like these two, yeah, make sure you don't use any sharp object when you're actually washing them. If you simply soak them in warm water, you find that you'll be able to remove any of the dirt that is on it. And if you now use a knife on this, at the end of the day, your chapati will actually have some decorations because you have actually dented your rolling pin. Now, this is known as a fish slice. And the purpose of this is actually when you're deep frying, you actually take whatever you're taking and you actually remove. You can also use it for cooking of eggs, when you're actually cooking eggs. Professionally, you're supposed, if you're cooking an egg, this is a frying pan. If you're cooking an egg, you should be able to toss your egg on top and it actually folds in. In the event that you don't know how to actually toss it, you can use a fish slice. So this is a fish slice, and it's usually made of metal. Now, this, we call it a ladle. This one is mainly for stews. There's a smaller one that is called a soup ladle for serving, but mainly it is also used for servicing in the kitchen. So you find that after you cook your food, you actually serve with that. Then we have a masher, a food masher. Those of you who have small sisters, small brothers or cousins, we mash food with this. You can actually mash. Right now in the market, there are electrical ones, you can actually do that. There are food processors, you can actually do that. In the event that electricity goes, for example, doesn't mean you won't mash your food. You still can actually operate with that food masher. Then these are drums, yeah. We use them in the kitchen, yeah. You can use them in the kitchen, or especially in serving things like maybe chapatis. So they usually operate them like this, because in the kitchen we try as much as possible not to hold food with our hands, and even with our hands there are plastic gloves that you actually should have instead of holding them. So instead of holding food, this you can use for serving fish, serving chicken, because you will simply lift your food like that, and you'll be able to actually use your tongs effectively. Now, this is called a pastry brush. You may tell me you're doing culinary techniques, you're not doing baking theory, but it is also used in culinary theory, because, for example, if you're roasting something and you need to oil, yeah, we don't take our hands and put oil. We use a pastry brush. So you simply dip your pastry brush in the oil and you oil your sheet that you need to put your chicken, your roast chicken, and it is better than actually using your hands. As I said, golden rule, do not avoid as much as possible to hold food with your hands. Of course, if you're cutting, that is okay, but once the food is cooked, you make sure you actually don't handle it with your hands. Okay? Now, this is a knife. This could be, it is a meat knife, yeah. The vegetable knife is slightly smaller. I'm sure you have them in your houses, or it's also called a fruit knife. So this is a requirement. In the university, you usually come with your own knives. We don't provide, so that then you can actually take care of them. When you come here, there is a popular brand of knives that comes with a whole set. It is called Tramontina. You get it when you come in the university. We'll be able to tell you where you can get all these things at a reasonable price. So that's a material. And of course, for knives, you need to be very careful. When you're coming with a knife, one, it needs to be sharp. Two, there's a way of carrying a knife in the kitchen. Always carry your knife facing down. You never carry your knife facing in this particular direction. Another rule of the knife, there are some people who are so used to talking. When you talk, you're pointing at somebody. You never point at wewe nakwambia hii staki, we never, because that is now dangerous. It would actually injure your colleague. Then, when you're dealing with knives, you never put knives inside the sink, because now that you're very many in class, you find that a classmate can come and put the hand inside the sink, and they will actually cut themselves. Then, never put the knife at the edge of the table or the surface, because somebody can actually come and by mistake hits the knife, and you actually find that. Then knives, once you use them, make sure you actually put them on the wire rack, so that you actually don't operate. When you're handing a knife to your partner, somebody is asking you for a knife in the kitchen, you do not handle the knife like this. You are the one to hold the sharp end, and you give your colleague with the handle. So that then at least you're more safe here, then we can hold here so that then. There are some people in the class who are used to putting the knives here. Especially, it is very dangerous. Yeah? Do not carry, even if it is your knife, do not carry it here because somebody can come and hit you and that will cause an accident. Always have a knife with a good handle because then it is easier for you to handle and it actually makes your work easy. So make sure your knife is sharp because again, having a blunt knife in the kitchen, you find that you will struggle, yeah? And at the end of the day, you will not be able to operate the knife. Now, we then go to what we usually have. Now, I have two types. These small bowls are known as utility bowls. They can be plastic, they can be metal. Now, the purpose of these bowls is if you're, for example, you're doing a menu and you're very many in the kitchen, all of you will need salt, all of you will need spices. So instead of you carrying the whole container of spice, you will put the amount you need here. That's why they are called utility bowls. And there's what we call previous preparation. Now, previous preparation simply means you prepare all your items. I don't know whether at home is the way you do it, but with time, when you come to the kitchen, I usually give you previous preparation, where you cut your vegetables, you cut your onions, you cut whatever that you need, and you can place them in the utility bowls. Then so that when you now start cooking, you will not have your onions there cooking there, and you're cutting something here and your onions burn there. You simply have all your ingredients next to the table in utility bowls, and you'll be able now, as soon as the onions cook, you'll be able to use the tomatoes, whatever you're putting, and that way it will make your work easy. Yeah? So utility bowls, both for ingredients and for spices, if you actually need them. Yeah? Now, as we move on, this is a frying pan. Now, the common pans we have, right now they are called non-stick. This is a non-stick pan, meaning food should actually not stick here. And you can deep fry, you can do an egg on this. And when you're dealing with a non-stick pan, avoid using a metal spoon. They are usually rubber fish slices also. Yeah, they are those that are made of rubber, and that's way you will be good. Because as you can see here, some metal item was used on this, and they have actually scraped the non-stick. So usually they are metal fish slices. They are even it is even better you use this because this will not scratch the non-stick. So frying pans are there. Non-stick are the best because then your food does not actually stick on the pan when you're cooking. Good for chapatis, also good for tossing your food. There's what we call flambeing. Flambeing is when you cook food with alcohol, then you light a fire and a fire burns in a tokaju. It is not a miracle, but you can use this. This one actually works very well with this, and you find that the fire actually does not burn. Okay? As we move on, earlier I said in my class that I will ask for you a colander. Now, this is a colander. And a colander, usually very effective in the kitchen. If you're washing vegetables, for example, most vegetables, you can wash them here and actually put them so that they drain the water. I'll give you an example. Lettuce, because it's actually used for green vegetables. Yeah? Lettuce, you need to remove the leaves, all the leaves, and you actually wash them thoroughly here. Now, lettuce, if you're using in a salad, they need to drain, and that is the purpose of all these holes. They actually drain whatever vegetables that you have, and you get very crispy vegetables. Now, if you're using a colander, you'll need something this. Now, this is a glass mixing bowl, so you'll need to place it there so that then it drains all the water that is in your vegetables. So this is a colander. We have a conical strainer, actually looking like a cone, yeah, with smaller holes. And for that one, you can use it for even sieving, for even washing rice, because rice has smaller particles. So that you can also use So we have a conical strainer, actually looks like a cone, and a colander, so do not confuse the two. Measuring jug. Now, we also have other equipment that we use in the kitchen, mainly for pastry, as you can see. These are all cutters, yeah, different kinds of cutters. In the kitchen, I say cooking is an art, right? I usually show you the very basic, yeah. Like for example, if I show you how to make bread rolls, for example, I'll do one type of roll or design for you, shape for you. The others, I let you become creative, because everybody will say, everybody is artistic. So these ones are for cutting pastries, or you can decide to cut cookies if you're making cookies, and they actually come in. They are different designs. In the market, they are quite amazing. Then we have the silver platter. This one is not mainly used mainly in the kitchen, but you find that in the event that maybe you want to serve chapatis, you can actually use a silver platter. It's called a silver platter. And as the name suggests, it should actually be silver. And in service, you find that there's what we call silver service. You actually use a silver platter. Then basins. We have basins in the kitchen. These are also called utility, but slightly bigger than this. When you come to the kitchen and you're collecting ingredients, vegetables, you don't come carrying your carrot in the air, tomato in the air. No, you come with this bowl. I put for you your onions, your whatever that you need, and you carry it. So that story of carrying onions in the air and tomatoes should not happen in the kitchen. So we find that is where we have these bowls. We also have this pepper shaker. If you have seen most food networks, they actually use black pepper. So you simply do that, and you actually season it. Yeah. In the kitchen, I will keep on saying in the kitchen, season your food. When we say season, what I mean is you put salt and white pepper, not black pepper. Yeah. So you find that this one is mainly when you're cooking. For those of you who like hot, not hot in temperature, but hot in spices, black pepper can actually work for you. We have a sauce boat. Now, as the name suggests, this is where you put sauce when you're actually serving, yeah, and it actually comes in handy, because then it usually has a small, and it is easy to pour. So when we are serving sauce to our customers, we actually put the sauce there. Last but not least, or almost last, we have a mixing bowl. Now, if you're doing, for example, salads, you find that salads, you can put them here. If you're marinating, now, marinating might be a bit hard for you. What I simply mean by marinating is you put spices in meat especially, and you let them stay in the spices. You mix your meat with it for a few hours. Of course, the longer it is, the better the food tastes. So you let them, so we can use this glass bowl, and you cover with cling film. Now, when you're marinating, you make sure you cover with cling film to retain all the flavors. Now, if you are going to put your meat in the fridge, marinated, it is also important to put in a glass bowl. The same glass bowl is as the mixing. If you are doing cake mixture, for example, you use a glass bowl. We do not use a sufuria. Okay, so maybe at home, even at home, if you are doing chapatis, this and this also can also work. Okay. Now, we have chopping boards here. Now, chopping boards are, as the name suggests, for chopping, usually plastic. In my kitchen here, we have color-coded. And color-coded means different colors mean different things. Now, this red chopping board, mainly used for cutting red meat. Yeah? So, when you have red meat is when you use this. The white one is usually used for dairy products. Yeah. Then we have a green one for vegetables. We also have a blue one for fish. Yeah. I guess blue is because fish and the sea are the same color. So you find that actually that's where they have put. Then we have a yellow one, usually used for cooked meats. Cooked meats, you have roasted a whole chicken, a whole turkey. Then you need to cut it. So you use the yellow chopping board. And there's also a brown one. Yeah. So all those, when you come to the kitchen, you'll actually have them posted there, the different types of colors, so that then you'll be able to use. Now, why do we use different color-coded chopping boards? It's because to avoid cross-contamination, yeah? So that if, especially for the meat, the red one for red meat and the blue one for fish. Fish is very delicate, yeah? And it's the same one that can actually lead to a lot of cross-contamination. You can imagine if you have cut fish here, then you cut your beef here. Now, the taste of fish and beef, there will be an interference not only on the taste, but also on the microorganisms that might go to the meat. So basically, those are the very basic. Of course, we have sufurias, different types. They are called saucepans. We have different types of saucepans and their lids. And with that, I think I've covered all the equipment that the very basic. When you come in session, there are other particular ones that we actually use, but as we work on, we will always be ready to actually show you how you use them. We have the blender, the mechanical equipment, where we have the blender, we have the food processor, we have the microwave. All those are what you will actually see when you actually come to the kitchen. And with that, I think I have finished my class, and we will see you in the next class. Thank you.